Christian Basics Part 26, Church Heirarchy Part 4, and this one's about evangelists. So an evangelist is someone who is supposed to go out into the world to people who are not saved, not believers, and share the gospel with them. It's usually someone who travels, like a missionary. They could be a missionary to another country, they could be a missionary to their own country in other states or something like that, but they're generally just someone who goes out to other places to witness to people. Now this may sound like an apostle, but it is not the same. An apostle plants churches, is sent out and plants churches, and an evangelist is sent out and witnesses to people. One example of a evangelist in the Bible is in Acts 21:8, where it talks about how Philip was an evangelist. An evangelist is usually someone who is not tied down to a certain church or area. They travel all over the place. But they usually do answer to the same church and come from the same church and go back to that from the church from time to time. Evangelists also try and turn people from their sins, have them repent, because that's also required in salvation. Evangelists will also go to areas where people have never heard the gospel before and tell them about it, or they will tell people who have never heard the gospel before. Evangelists are supposed to attempt to revive people or get people more excited about their faith, or get people back to the Bible, back to the way they are supposed to be acting. And just because you do not have the title of evangelist does not mean that you are not supposed to evangelize to people and tell them the gospel also. You may do it in your day-to-day life, but it's not the same as being an evangelist who does it for a job. So the Bible talks about this in 1 Peter 3:15 and says, "Always be ready to give a defense for what gives you a hope and a future." In other words, always be ready to answer someone's question about why do we have so much hope. So basically, it's the job of the evangelist to tell people the gospel, get them saved, then they go to church, and the pastor, which I talked about before, will lead them in their life with Christ. It is not the pastor's job to be an evangelist, even though he can evangelize to people. So I hope this helps explain more about what an evangelist is. If you have any questions or comments, put them below, and look forward to more stuff coming from the Lord's Patriots.